back to the old way, which we didn't have issues with. I also had a meeting with CCS today, talking about.
Typically, except to get both.
Jane usually does it the next morning.
Can I ask, that mixer, $227,000 mixer, did all of that come out of CIP and was it all in there?
All of it is going to come out of CIP, but we will be reimbursed for $210,000 of it from the DES grant. And then,
Okay,
and
okay,
then, we'll receive a 40 grand rebate for the remaining balance, plus, some additional work that needs to be done, like a heat pump needs to be installed and some other stuff. So
so
total,
that leaves us 17 plus the additional stuff,
yeah,
roughly.
yeah,
Okay, that's way better.
yeah.
Awesome.
I mean, it's coming out of CIP, but it will be
Not-
reimbursed once we get.
Not the 200 something,
Yes,
just
correct.
We should make that clear. Sure. That's a big,
It's a big ticket item.
big number.
Okay, I'll put
We
that,
talked about it at CIP.
Yep.
This week.
I'll make a note here.
I think it's actually on my town manager's report, because we asked for an extension from DES for that, because we're not gonna be completed by the end of the year. So we asked for an extension.
I wrote next year down here, so. Okay, perfect.
So we can talk about it then.
No, you can. Okay, I'll give you the number and then you can. It's a huge, fairly unexpected cost.
Yeah.
Please and thank you.
A lot of stuff to sign tonight.
Get your signature hands ready. Wait, I don't have.
We ready?
Good, yeah.
You want some?
Yes.
Sure. All right, I'll call the meeting to order. We don't have minutes to do tonight. So we're gonna postpone that till next meeting. So first item on the agenda is a public hearing regarding the sewer use ordinance that is being revised. So we've advertised this as a public hearing. The DES, Nate and Ray Corbett have all reviewed revisions to our sewer use ordinance and have recommended that we pass this. I have read the revisions. I didn't read every word front to back, but I read all of the stuff and read that was either being deleted, added, or changed. And I'm not a sewer expert, but didn't find anything like that raised my eyebrows.
Ditto.
So I will open up public comment. On the sewer use ordinance, that we're looking to revise, if there's any public comments.
Come on, one at a time.
All right, there being none. We can make a motion to adopt the new sewer use ordinance as proposed.
I'll make that.
One second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye,
Aye.
that was easy. The next thing on the agenda is another public hearing regarding modifying the covenants and deed restrictions to the Lincoln Industrial Park, Business Industrial Park, where there were 9 lots created within the town of Lincoln as shown on subdivision of the Lincoln Industrial Park in the town of Lincoln, surveyed January 1993 and July 2006 by Save One Surveying. Whereas 3 of the lots have already been conveyed and the town currently owns 6 of the lots and wishes to modify the covenants and restrictions applicable to lots 1, 3, and 6. The recommendations that we're making is to change covenant B, which currently states that any commercial or light industrial use of these lots or the structures thereupon must be of the type expected to require regular on-site staff supervision and employment. No use primarily intended for storage or other unattended purposes will be allowed. And to replace that restriction with a new restriction B that says no self-storage unit or units of any kind shall be permitted on the conveyed lot or lots, and no self-storage use shall be permitted on the conveyed lot or lots. The second covenant and restriction change is to add one more, that would be the letter I, that says the town shall have the right to impose different or additional covenants and restrictions in any future conveyance of any remaining lots within the subdivision of Lincoln Industrial Park in the town of Lincoln, New Hampshire, surveyed 1993 and July 2006 by Save One Surveying, Inc. Provided that such different or additional covenants and restrictions shall not, without express written agreement, apply to the lots owned by the current lot owners. There was a suggestion at the last meeting to even modify that so that it says, provided that any such different or additional covenants shall require a noticed public hearing, and the restrictions shall not, without express written agreement, apply to the lots owned by the current lot owners. So I will open that up for discussion. Obviously, this discussion can be on any of the restrictions, but to date, we've not heard any issues or problems with any of the other ones except for this B. And then the possibility of adding one more restriction, I. So I'll open that up for public comment. Mike, did you have any thoughts or suggestions or anything? Because obviously we're going to be asking you to sign this agreement that takes your specific law. He's got to unmute.
You're muted, Mike. You need to unmute.
There he goes.
Still can't hear. Can I call him?
Yeah.
Mike, I'm gonna call you on your phone and put you on speaker if that's okay.
He said, yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna mute again.
Yeah, mute yourself again. Or Jade, you can mute him. Okay, you're on speaker.
Yeah, I'm unmuted, Tammy. It comes across that the host has got me muted.
Oh, well, that's all right. We'll just do it this way.
Okay. No, I received it. I'm in favor of what you're proposing. I've got
Excellent,
no problems with that.
excellent.
It actually goes into the spirit of what I thought it originally was in 2005,
Yeah,
but, I don't want to get too far into that right now, but
sure.
no, I'm happy, but
Great. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.
thank you. Do you want to stay on or what I'm gonna do again?
No, you can keep listening all you want. I'll hang my phone up, but I'll leave it right here. And if you have anything else you want to add, call back my phone. And I'll put you on speaker again.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, and I'll leave my phone right here so that I can see if it rings.
Did talk last week to make sure that he had got the notice, and he did midweek.
Excellent.
I also called Mr. Sullivan to make sure that he received it. He did midweek, and he called me back yesterday and said he had run it by was running it by his attorney. His attorney was gonna be out of town for 2 weeks. He had a commitment tonight. That's why he's not here. He was gonna possibly try to zoom in. There was a question posed to me by one of the townspeople. What if somebody wants to put an apartment over a building there that's being used for industrial purposes? Would the town be in favor of that? Would there be an objection to that?
Can't, it's not zone residential.
It's the zoning in that zone specifically excludes all
Right.
residential uses.
Okay,
Right.
So to put it in the deed would be duplicative
Redundant. yeah.
Yeah,
and
redundant.
it's the zoning is really what's in control of that whole zone rather
Right.
than each specific lot.
specific lot, yeah. Good, so I can get back to that.
Yeah,
individual,
yeah.
Because they, I guess they mentioned Jake Belanger in particular, because that's what he wanted to do. He was able to do that up on Route 3
Correct.
Right,
because it wasn't zoned the same way that the industrial park was.
exactly.
And we heard from one of the realtors that he had potential customers that wanted to move in there.
Yeah, that was expressed to us a while back, and that's kind of
Kevin back,
Mm.
just
helped
triggered
would trigger this to move
Right.
forward and see if we can change it, so.
Now, if we did move forward, if we do move forward with these new restrictions, will we re-advertise the properties? Or are we still going to kind of just let them? I guess, sit?
Suggestion might be to just notify the local realtors and put something on the town website that we have availability of 6 lots in the industrial park or business park.
Yeah, I would think that we would,
I mean, if we're gonna,
Want to
if
make
we
them
want,
available.
right, and if we want to really sell them, we need to put them on the MLS, so we need to contract with a realtor.
Right, well, that's.
If we just, you say, oh, if it sells, great, if it doesn't, no big deal, then don't put it on the MLS, but if you want it to, if we wanna push these and get them sold. So we're just gonna decide what we want. Do we want it on the MLS or do we not? So I think we get through this first and then.
let's get through this,
jump
and
that-
again,
Jump that,
my thought is that the real purpose of this is to, is not to sell them as quickly as we can,
Mhm.
but to have them there for when a local business person,
comes back.
like the one that came to us a few years ago,
Mhm.
wanted a place for his construction business, but he wasn't gonna work inside that building, he was gonna be able to build houses.
Right,
Um,
unless he needed to come in and build a cabinet or something, and, yeah,
right, but
keep tools.
primarily would be working outside of the building. Now that if we get this through and that's allowed, I'm expecting that there would be more interest in these.
Sure.
But to try to sell them quickly isn't the thing, as much as to provide them as a tool for some of the people doing local work to
Right.
use. Is
I agree.
more the goal. So, all right, any other public input on this? Jim?
We can tell them, is it town hall?
It's a town road.
Town hall, so
Yeah.
town plaza.
Yes.
Yeah.
could it be something in there, say somebody. Say somebody gets a load of lumber brought in. And there's nobody there to receive it. And part of it gets piled beside the road. Could there be something in there, if they're gonna get the delivery, there's gotta be somebody there to receive it?
That's, that's a slippery slope. You can't,
I think that's
if
stuff
UPS drops off a package, you can't
Yeah,
mandate
Yeah,
someone.
I mean, if they can get something, you know,
Right.
within the parking lot,
Right,
if somebody's not even stop beside the road because they can't within, in the parking area, there's nobody there to receive it.
Well, that would be within the town's right of way, and then Nate could.
Right.
Enforce
Yeah.
the, you know, we could enforce that it was in the
I
town
think
right
if
of
it
way.
becomes a problem, if it becomes an issue, we would definitely do something.
Yeah.
However, it hasn't become a problem yet.
Right,
so-
guys are gonna have. to-
Right.
So,
Right, right. So, interesting though. Hmm.
I mean, that same situation can theoretically apply to any house being built in town, any building being built in town. We don't, I don't wanna create an ordinance for something that's never happened before. I mean, if someone is
It's not an issue, right?
blocking the town right of way with anything. We'll deal with it from a blocking the town right of way.
you know, now that you only got 2 places here, pretty soon you could have 5 or 6.
Right.
Right.
Get Mike Donahue's equipment to move it right out. Right. It'll be firewood.
That's right. Take all that wood, chuck it right up.
Good. Wayne, did you wanna say something?
Just say that you've had a discussion on this subject many times over the last few months in these board meetings. And I just want to say that I think the process you've gone through, the conclusions you've come to, the changes that you're proposing are absolutely great thing to do for that piece of property. It'd be wonderful if that fills up quickly and generates revenue for the town and puts this problem away. You guys have gone through the right steps to vet this and do it the right way.
Thank you.
Thank you. And any other comment? All right, motion to close public hearing,
So moved.
second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Um. You know, I say based on the comments and again, the last couple of months of discussion that we adopt this as Jason wrote it. But add in shall require a notice public hearing. In that new
Aye.
section I.
Do you want to wait until we get word back from the Sullivans, just in case their attorney has any sort of
a bad idea. mean, we
amendment or recommendation for change?
Now, you said 2 weeks, so we could put this on the agenda on the 28th. And adopt it at that point without any more public hearing. Once we hear from Sullivan's.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not
Good
gonna
suggestion. Yeah,
lose anything by waiting
Yeah.
2 more
no,
weeks.
it's not. Okay.
Um,
So we'll put it on the agenda for the 28th, and in the meantime, we'll reach out to Mr. Sullivan.
Yeah, and then the board can adopt it and then we can set up a time for all the documents to be signed.
Okay.
Sure.
All that stuff.
All right,
Great, thank you.
all right, Mike, thanks for your input. You're welcome to listen to the whole rest of the meeting, but
Should be riveting.
if you do disappear, I do want to say thank you.
Agreed.
All right, the next item on the agenda, we're gonna skip over for the request of Longfellow Construction. We're gonna skip over the meeting minutes. And move on to the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services Planning Grant, which is. Right here, all right. This is money that we've received from the ARPA funds. Okay, this department, DES intends to award a grant of $50,000 to the town of Lincoln for a strategic planning grant program.
It's for the selfie water tank.
Right, that's what I'm using the money for. And we have to submit a certificate of vote. I'm just trying to find the wording for that. I had it before the meeting. Of what we needed to actually vote on, right here. All right. I'm gonna do this in the form of a motion because this is what's required. Make a motion that the town vote, or the board vote for the town of Lincoln to enter into an American Rescue Plan Act Fund grant agreement with the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services to fund a drinking water improvement project. And the town of Lincoln further to authorize Karina Park, town manager, to execute any documents which may be necessary to effectuate this grant agreement. And I'll make that as a motion.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
All right, I gotta sign this thing 36 times. We'll move on.
You think that's bad? Wait till you get to the bond documents.
Say, get rid of the bank thing. All right, there's a notary place which. Your signature.
Jane's witnessing it, don't worry. But Serena is the other.
Jane will probably do it, just if I probably shouldn't witness my answer.
Oh, yeah, probably not.
Right.
That's frowned upon.
Speaking of the water tower, have we heard back on the NEPA study yet from the Forest Service?
No, last I heard, they were still waiting on those 2 reviews, but I haven't received a new update since I've been back from Sam. But I think we're hopefully still on schedule for this month, hoping. Fingers crossed.
Let's hope.
Let's hope.
There's not been any hiccups so far. All right, next thing on the agenda is the Union Bank bond closing.
Don't do that at the end.
This is what I'm thinking. Let's read the resolution,
Okay.
vote on it,
Go through the signatures.
and then we'll do the signature part at the
That
end,
makes
because
sense,
again,
yes.
this is like a ridiculous amount of.
Absolutely, but the resolution definitely needs to be included in the minutes.
All right, and the resolution is not short either.
This is a motion as well, correct?
This will be a motion. It'll be, I'm gonna, Jane, you have this in probably Word. I'm gonna make this as a motion. All of these resolutions, I'm gonna do in one motion rather than, this says we voted on this, we voted on this, we voted. I'm gonna make it as one, just to simplify it.
Yeah. Fair.
All right, so I'll make a motion to authorize the issuance of $6 million general obligation bond number R1 and a $2.2 million general obligation bond number R2, together called the bonds of the issuer, which were heretofore authorized by the issuer's voters on March 14th, 2023. Such bonds to be dated August 17th, 2023. And to sell the bonds to the purchaser on such terms and conditions as are set forth in Exhibit A, attached hereto. And to vote to issue the bonds in substantially the form set forth in Exhibit B, attached hereto. And agree that the bonds shall be the general obligations of the issuer. And to authorize the execution of the bonds by at least a majority of the governing board and the treasurer, or the printing of facsimiles of such signatures on the bonds, and to affix the issuer's seal, and to authorize the treasurer to deliver the bonds to the purchaser against payment therefor, and to authorize at least a majority of the governing board and the treasurer to execute and deliver a signature and no litigation certificate with receipt a line of credit rider for each of the bonds, and a tax certificate. And the issuer's treasurer, chair of the governing board or town manager to execute and deliver the IRS Form 8038G, all in substantially the form presented to the undersigned, and such other documents as may be necessary or appropriate to accomplish the sale and delivery of the bonds in accordance with the foregoing. And to authorize the issuer to serve as its own paying agent for the bonds. That's my motion.
I'll second that motion.
Did you want me to repeat it?
Could you please, the third, no, you said.
Any discussion? Of, yeah, no, we don't have to have a public hearing, but if there's any public comment,
These are for the,
the two separate bonds, and again, the way they're set up is that we have a construction type bond that we can draw on as needed for 12 months. And then it converts to a 19-year termed bond, of which the first 10 years is fixed at an interest rate. And then the last 9 years has a higher interest rate, but no prepayment penalty, which allows us to refinance these, because neither the bank nor us knows what interest rate's gonna be in 10 years, and you know, obviously, if they're much higher than the 4.86 that we're guaranteed, we won't touch them. If they're back down in the 2 and 3% range, we can refinance them. So,
and the purpose of the bonds.
the $6 million bond is for the new police station. The $2.2 million bond is for the renovation of putting in a new water line from Boyce Work Station up to the Indian Head Tank. Or the flume tank.
For anybody that was listening.
Right.
Wasn't, didn't know. We
No,
just put money in your pocket.
I'm glad you asked those questions, because it's so I'll make that motion. Did we have a second?
A second.
You seconded it.
She did.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. So I'm gonna set this aside. And we can sign all that stuff. A little bit later. All right, we'll do a couple of these other little these two, quickly things since they're here. I'm gonna make a motion that we approve, that the board approve the appointment of Christine Klepser as a municipal agent to the Division of Motor Vehicles for the town of Lincoln, New Hampshire. On June 9th, 2023. Okay, the governing body unanimously voted to approve voted the approval of the appointment of Christine Klepser as assistant town clerk. And that state work will be conducted on town time.
Second.
Okay, he makes the motion.
That's my daughter, I should abstain.
Oh, yeah, you should. I'll second the motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain, and I'm pretty sure I abstained on any other vote as well. So it was not a unanimously appointed her or anything.
Right, there's a majority vote.
So reread that with the majority instead of unanimous.
Motion carries. Because you abstained.
It's
Right, but
it's still,
it says,
It says that she was appointed unanimously last time, and it was majority, not unanimous.
it actually was unanimous because
only 2 voted.
all of the people who voted yes. You didn't vote. I mean, that's how they do it in
Okay,
Congress.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
No, that works.
If you have the senator who doesn't show up
Yep.
and everybody votes for something, they still call it unanimous.
Unanimous, you're right.
Okay.
So I'm gonna abstain anyway, again.
All right, just as long as in the minutes, and this requires at least 2 signatures. I assume you'll not want to.
Yeah.
Sign this.
You and Jack can sign it.
Maybe I might.
There you go.
Please, we need another MV agent. in town.
All right. the second one, and then, we have to. Sign on the financial report of the budget for the period ending December 31st, 2022. So even though it's August, our books closed out, all adjustments were made. Jennifer Dorr is, Bouquet,
Yep.
has looked, not looked at it, has done all the work needed to prepare this report. And we just need to accept it. So I'm gonna say that we have declared that we have examined the information contained in this form and to the best of our belief is true, correct, and complete. I'll make that as a motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Just because I know people will be interested. Our actual expenditures were $300,000 below budgeted. The revenue is more confusing to come up with a definite number because there was some monies taken out of capital reserves that the counting is unanticipated revenue, and it's really not revenue, we just, so, I'm not gonna quote any numbers on that, but
And the
It wasn't-
300,000 that we were under went towards the purchase of the fire truck, correct?
Essentially, yes, the $300,000 that we were under went to our undesignated or unreserved fund balance, which essentially went to fund the additional $450,000 we needed for the
The
fire.
fire truck, right? Because COVID happened and everything doubled.
Correct.
Theoretically.
Well, it didn't get cheaper, we'll say.
No, gosh.
all right, now we can go on to the town manager's report. Do we have a printed copy of anything? Town manager's report?
It's in your, yes, I think it's in your packet somewhere down the line.
I honestly didn't even see that, it's kind of buried with the.
Sewer ordinance.
Sorry,
I think you may have discussed this at the last meeting, but I just wasn't 100% positive, but we did enter into a service agreement with Du Bois and King for the structural analysis of the fire department. They should be on site in early September to conduct the inspection, so that project's moving along. DES ARPA grant extension, so this is we submitted last year a application for a DES grant for the new mixers at the solid waste lagoons. That came in at roughly $215,000. We were awarded by DES. Part of that project wasn't only the installation of the mixers, it was also some heating improvements to the building itself, a new heat pump, new mini splits versus the old style of heating that they had there. So those have yet to be completed because we've had Nate has had a VFD, variable frequency drive on order now for about a year and a half. We don't know when the delivery
part of it.
of that will be, which is part of the additional improvements that need to be made. We have asked for an extension on the grant. Technically, the grant is supposed to be closed out and all the work's supposed to be completed by the end of this year, 12/31/23. We've asked for an extension for an additional year so we can close out the project.
And even
End of
at
next
this
year.
point, if we got that variable drive, there isn't time to install it this year.
We would still have to hire exactly
Right.
contractors and electricians and all that stuff. We also received a quote for a new heat pump. Because that quote came in at over $10,000, we now have to receive 3 quotes to satisfy the grant.
Yeah.
So Nate is procuring those additional quotes as well. So most likely, this additional work is not gonna be done this fall with all the other stuff that Nate has on.
So how much was the grant
The grant we received from DES was 215.
Okay.
We also received a $40,000 rebate from the electric co-op for doing this work as well. So total funds that should be coming back to the town is 255. The
The pump itself was,
the pump itself is
I'm sorry, the mixer itself was $226,732, so it
Correct.
doesn't quite pay for it. And of course, the extras, installation, parts, pieces and stuff, but it's way better than.
yes, it's gives us a healthy
Absolutely.
right chunk of it taken away.
Yes.
So you will see in your AP vendor report this week that we did pay Ixiom for the mixers and the installation. That money will come out of capital reserve until we are reimbursed by the grant, and then the reimbursement will go back into the capital reserve funds. Sure. So so that's where we are with that project.
Thank you.
We
Yes,
also,
thank you.
yeah, CIP, we also mentioned this, Nate went from the CIP this past week. We discussed the sewer lagoons and we discussed with the CIP what was gonna happen. Well, we were gonna have to take those funds and then reimburse them. And so the capital, the CIP committee is aware of that as well. Sure.
Thank you.
Now, this project with the mixes, is this separate from, or was it part of what they did with the grate that they had to replace inside the building? It wasn't a grate, that's, I'm using the wrong term.
That's the,
That was a separate project.
that was a separate project. That was because one of our influence screen failed.
Yes.
Yes.
Green, that's
Yeah,
what.
influence screen, yes, that's because that's totally separate. This was part of the energy improvement audit that you
Right.
did.
Right,
And these were the recommendations that were made, that's why we're getting that rebate from
Yeah.
the co-op. Yeah, no, the influence screen is another issue,
Hold on.
another issue you have down there.
is that incomplete? The screen?
The new, I don't believe
Still in
so.
still in progress.
Yeah. Okay, we put out a request, an RFQ, a request for qualifications for general contracted services for the new police department, the construction of the new police department. The RFQs went out last week or the week before. They were in the newspapers, depending on the rotation of the newspaper.
Yeah.
And we also put them in some recommended online forums that Ray Corber had suggested for us, like construction,
Yeah.
you know, forums and whatnot and websites. The RFQs are due back August 25th, with the anticipation that bid documents will be issued the week of September 11th. And that bids would be awarded in early October.
Nice.
Yes, so that ball is rolling. We have received some phone calls. We've distributed some of the
Yeah.
schematic designs from people who are interested in moving forward with the project. So we're hoping we get a healthy handful of contractors who are interested. Upcoming legal dates for
Yeah.
everyone's calendar, just to make sure. 8/28 at 9 AM is the Wood suit trial management. 9/1 at 11 o'clock is the motion to reconsider hearing for the Wood case. And then on 9/5 at 9 AM is the Wood jury selection. So I plan on being in attendance for these, so
You don't need, do you need any of us?
I think the Wood trial management is probably not necessary. Even Jason said it's not really necessary for me to be there either. It's for the attorneys, so. But I think it might behoove some of the board members to be there for at least jury selection. I know, like I said, I plan to be there, but
That's a Tuesday. I can be there. The motion to reconsider hearing is not. That's just like the last one, isn't it?
correct.
That's gonna be just Jason saying why you shouldn't. And
Why it shouldn't,
The other
correct.
ones.
Yes.
Say why it should, and then you leave. with
And then
a
you
motion,
leave, yeah.
and Wait for the, yeah, okay.
Like I said, I think the most pertinent for you to be at is probably jury selection,
I can
just
be
so
there
we
for that.
have a presence in the courtroom.
I think it's a good idea. I'm not sure if I can make it that day.
Sorry, I
But
can
if
be over, yeah.
you can make it, okay.
And like I said, I plan to be there as well, so. Okay. TM correspondence. So at the last meeting, I was in attendance for, I was asked to write letters to Gertrude Spanos in regards to the Mountaineer Motel and the parking of vehicles there by Arnold's Auto Center. So that letter has been sent and it's included, I think, in your blue or green folder somewhere if you want a copy of it. I was also asked to send a letter to Arnold's Auto Center in regards to the parking of vehicles in the breakdown lane, the northbound breakdown lane on Route 3. That letter has also been sent. There's a copy of it in your green folder as well. I have spoken to Mr. Ham regarding both of the letters today. And here we are. More to come.
Not saying a word.
I do believe I did give a 30-day notice to remove the vehicles from the Mountaineer Motel in the letter. I
What's the
did
date on
believe,
that?
it was 30 days from the date of the receipt of the letter, I think. I don't remember off the top of my head. August 11th.
August.
Hey,
No, August 11th, no,
We should
August
come back
7th
with-
was the Spanos letter.
Okay.
I like I said, I did speak with John Hamm about it today. I think he is going to work with the Spanoses to try to come before the planning board to make it an allowed use, is the impression I got.
I mean, they have every right to do that.
That's what I
It's in the
said.
general use zone.
It's not
It's a
right.
change of use, it just requires a land use application.
Well, they would need approval, they need site plan approval.
Site plan approval.
Correct, right. And that's what I explained, and he was going to work with the landowner in order to figure out a plan. So
That's
that's where we are with
that's
that.
why we have planning board is so we can go through the site plan.
Correct.
Approval and then we can talk about, you know, fences and landscaping and lighting and
All the stuff that comes
all the
along with
stuff that's on the site plan.
And then in regards to the parking, I did say we appreciate the cones. The cones have been out there for a few weeks now, and then we just wanted to formalize in writing and make sure that those cones stay to reinforce the no parking on that section of roadway. So. That is that. And then last week in your mailboxes, I didn't see any of them there this week, so I imagine everyone picked them up, the year-to-date expenditures through July. Like I said, there's nothing, no major areas of concern at this point. Obviously, there are some line items that are high and some line items that are low, but we're about 58% through the year. And like I said, I don't have any major areas of concern at this moment. So. That is all I have for public session.
Right, and I know we got a couple of things for non-public.
We absolutely do.
All right, I actually didn't have anything else to bring up. Do you have anything, Ron?
No, sir.
I had a couple of things.
Yeah.
Dr. Felgate, we talked it last week. I just want to follow up so it just doesn't get forgotten. If you look in front of the library, I took a picture of it. There's a wonderful bench there in memory of someone, and I can't remember who it was now.
Marilyn Murphy.
Thank you. Yes, and it's lovely. It's a lovely bench. I would like to talk to Carol and find out what. Yeah. I'm just showing a picture of it, but it's right in front of the library and it says Mary Olson, so loved. I would like the town to purchase a similar bench and place it at the medical center with their permission, of course. That says something to the effect of, Dr. Rodney Felgate, thank you for 50 years of service. And have it placed there. And if you are in agreement with that, I'll start doing the legwork and come up with the pricing and get permission and all that stuff.
Can we do that the other way? Come up with the pricing,
Come up with the pricing and
get their
discuss it,
permission,
get permission, and then discuss
and
it.
then we'll.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
Do we know what the future of that building is
I
going?
do know if the ambulance it owns it,
Linwood.
right, Little Medical Center, the ambulance kind of, it started with that and it's kind of shifted to management, if you will, of it. It goes through the ambulance now. And the chief, Dave Tauber, went to school board. Well, it was last month's meeting, I think, and informed them and just wanted to get it out there that when that building is no longer being used for medical services for the town of Lincoln, the ownership reverts back to the school. So they want the school to be prepared to, at some point, take ownership of that building. I don't believe Dr. Felgate has officially announced any retirement or anything. However, was implied that that's forthcoming.
The only reason why I ask is I would hate for us to put a bench in the ground there and then have them within 6 months or so rip up and move things around and then be.
Well, and part of that getting permission, I was also going to the school. And stuff.
I mean, they do have like a nice little kind of. I don't wanna say like
A garden thing. out
little
front.
garden, yeah,
And see,
right.
I thought of that. However, if that building is raised for any reason. That would go with it. So my suggestion would be a little closer to the driveway,
Sure,
you know.
yeah.
Near the road-ish, you know, away from the road enough that it's not gonna get covered in snow or whatever, snowbanks, but. Away from the building enough that it's not gonna go with it,
Go with it.
if the building goes. Not to, and I don't want anybody out there saying we're gonna plow down, that's not all what I'm saying. But if in 50 years they knock down that building. I don't want the bench to get knocked down with it, that's all I'm saying.
And again, the bench could be easily moved depending on what that site gets used for or whatever.
Yeah, and it could be not an in-ground bench, we just could, you know, sink a post and chain a bench to it or something, so. Doesn't necessarily have to be one that's planted in the ground, it could be one that can be moved, right?
Okay.
So, but yeah, I'll start having some conversations and. Bring it back,
Sounds good?
thank you. The other thing I have to wanted to bring to you was. I'm on the Child Care Center board as well, we had a meeting 2 weeks ago, I believe. A week and a half ago, and I did bring it to this, what I'm about to say, to Judith again at the school, and I spoke with Cheryl Reardon, Woodstock Selectman. And I talked to Karina about it a little bit. The Child Care Center is in a very real danger of closing. And the biggest issue we have is not being able to find employees. Not just anybody can jump in and be a preschool teacher or watch babies, you have to have the education to be certified. So it's I've been down 2 employees for almost 2 years now. We've shut the baby room down because we don't have a teacher for it. We only have 3 rooms now, and they're limited to numbers, like the babies, it's 4 per teacher. Toddlers is 6 per teacher, early preschool is 8, preschool is 12, I believe, and those are all full, and there are waiting lists. I think there's still a waiting list for toddlers and early preschool, but not preschool. And of course, for baby. Another one of our teachers announced that they're gonna work this school year and be done in June, so then we'd be down to 2. Which means that there's no more childcare center. So we're looking for thoughts, ideas, brainstorming. We've gone to the colleges, several colleges, community college association or whatever it is, for the state of New Hampshire. We're talking about setting up at the job fair at PSU at the end of the month. We just can't find anyone. We've got a couple of, one really good, sub, it's a retired educator that comes into sub occasionally, but, you know, in her words were, I'm old, this is tough. I can do a day here and there, but it's not something that an older person, I do afternoons occasionally, just so that, because the director is also the preschool teacher, so I go in an afternoon or 2 a week so that she can get paperwork done, and whatnot, and there's a reason why young people have children. So, you know, if you have a niece that's graduating from college, send her that over there, or a nephew, doesn't matter, we don't care.
It's possible. I mean, this is a trend I mean, Moon shut down its pre-care,
Mhm.
pre-child, you know,
But they did
They
it
don't
in
do that.
conjunction with that one opening. Yeah.
The other thing too, like with the New England Disabled Sports, we get interns, we've got 5 of them.
Mhm.
Going for their doctorate now in OT from Tufts University, so we
Mhm.
might try. Hooking up with one of the schools that offers a degree in childcare.
We've hooked up with all of them, Jack.
Okay, and.
We don't have
try
a
to
ski
get-
slope to entice them in.
Well, you don't have what?
A ski slope to entice them in to work for us, because they can't go. I mean, I see how Ned's
No,
can
but
get
I'm-
interns, that would be a
What-
great
No,
intern.
but
to
I mean,
have.
this is in the summertime, right now as I speak,
Oh,
we've got
gotcha.
5 interns.
Okay,
So consequently, you know, they're getting credit
right,
for their field work.
Mhm.
So I mean, if we could give them credit, we have a supervisor that comes out from. Tufts
we do, we
once every
have,
2
we
weeks,
just can't get one,
and you know,
we can't get any,
why?
they're not there. They're not there, we've been to several, I shouldn't say been to, in contact with and reached out to several schools several times in the past couple of years. PSU, UNH in particular, and the community college system of New Hampshire. They're just not there.
PSU is discontinuing their early
They
childhood
are.
education major.
Yes,
I did not know that.
they are. Due to lack of enrollment. They're just not out there. The state is working on things to try to help, because centers, childcare centers are closing left and right. Some of them are down to like 3 days a week because that's all they have staffing for. Some of the local ones. Plymouth has a brand
I was gonna
new,
say, even the new
brand
brand new
new,
mid-state
it's-
health.
they're less than half because they don't have staffing to fill it up. Yeah. I mean, it's just literally a crisis. And the reason, in my opinion, why it is such a dire need is we have a hard enough time finding employees in this town to begin with. We're not gonna be able to hire servers and chambermaids and grocery store workers if there's no place for their kids to go during the day. And I say that because those are all people, there's kids are over there now that work in town at some of these bigger hotels and smaller ones, the grocery store, the post office. I mean,
Town hall.
if we can't offer a basic childcare, how are we going to get employees to move to town and work? Or drive to town and work? There's quite a few that live in surrounding towns, but they bring their kids here to work. So they're close to them while they're working in case something ever happened. So, I mean, it's a dire need for this tourist community to supply workers that are needed childcare. So it's a real issue. It's a problem. So putting it out there, I think we've got another meeting coming up at the Child Care Center, and I think what we're gonna try to do is ask, probably not all full boards, but one from Woodstock, one from Lincoln, maybe Judith from the school, which again is a huge issue because they have any child over the age of 3 that is, has any kind of a disability, a learning disability, the school has to provide education for them, and they do that at the center now. Without that, the school's gonna have to come up with another room. Maybe an addition, so there's more tax dollars,
They can use the medical center.
another teacher. Maybe,
That might, I mean,
You know, hey.
we laugh, but that may be.
But we'd have to hire more staff. And there's 80-something% of our budget at the school right now is staffing, that we can't even get enough as it is. We're combining classrooms this year because we're down 3 positions we haven't been able to fill.
What's
Yeah.
your school enrollment? Is it up or down?
It's level this year. I think exactly the same as last year, as of now. I mean, school starts week, but as of right now, we're exactly the same.
What's the teacher pupil ratio?
Depends on what classroom you're in. There's one class that only has 17 kids in it, I think, and a sophomore class, I think it is. And of course, they're in high school, so they go around. I think in the elementary, on average, it's 12 to 15 students per teacher. I don't think there's any bigger than that. I think this one might be 17. But I think there's also a one-on-one with one of those kids in that same room. Which is not there all day long, but still. Which is good, that's a good ratio. Right now, we've got an incoming class of 28. That there's only one licensed teacher for. Yes, because we're down 3 positions, we can't, there's no one out there, there isn't anyone to hire. Was talking to this with a friend of mine who's a nurse, and she said, remember 10, 12, 15 years ago when there were no nurses and all these incentives came out? She goes, now I'm a nurse and there's a million of us and there's no teachers. So 10, 15 years, there'll be all these teachers and no nurses. I mean, that's. But anyway, it's an issue, it's a problem that we are facing and we need help.
So spread the news.
Spread the word.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Don't you want to come be a preschool teacher?
I'm too old for that.
I love toddlers, they're fun. They are though, I really like it. They're younger, maybe.
Do you have anything else?
No, I'll end on that happy note.
All right, then, I'll open up for public participation. Jim,
Yeah, talk about active employees in town. Is there any way to kind of slow down the Airbnbs so people have a place to live? I mean, I've got one coming up in 2 days. My rent is moving out, but a lot of these Airbnb buildings could have been used for housing for people that want to work in this town. There's no place.
A lot of people feel that way.
it's on the planning board agenda for the next meeting. We're gonna be looking at what steps the board can take, or the town can take, to address that issue.
I mean, if you look at what Conway tried to do and lost in court twice. You know, it's not, the short-term rental market is winning in court everywhere across the country. It's not just, there's not just a problem here, it's
These
everywhere.
Airbnbs are in residential areas. Business in residential.
Actually, that's the problem.
That's the- right,
It's not a business.
Right.
Now,
That's the argument that they tried to make in
Right.
court twice, Jim.
And
Well, they did make that out.
That's what I said, they.
It's
that one, yes.
Did-
Yeah.
From what our attorney says, who was the attorney on the Conway
Right.
case, says it's not the property owner's use, it's the occupant's use
Right.
of the property, which
Right.
defines what the property is. And the occupants
Are you
are using it as a residential. But we are looking into it,
Yes.
like OJ said, we can limit them in certain zones. But that excludes anyone who has a pre-existing registered licensed Airbnb. So I think the planning board is gonna address that and try to.
we're gonna talk about it, it's on the agenda, I mean,
Yeah.
it's up to the, if you want, come to the planning board and make the plea, because. The planning board can decide to do nothing, just let it continue. Or to take some steps that will at least stop further conversion of long-term to short-term.
And it's a hard one too. I mean, I've had someone come to me and say, you know, if people had a moral compass, they would Airbnb their home. Well, I came this close to doing it because the renters I had for 6 years was a nightmare. I mean, it was 5.5 years of court, not even joking, while they paid no rent. I mean, it was just a nightmare. And I thought, I'll never rent again. No, there's no way I'll ever rent again. However, I want to keep the house because I have a disabled grandson that I want to live there when he can get to that point. So I don't want to sell the house. Do you leave it empty? I didn't want a long-term renter in there again, although I found it that once, so I did, but. I mean, it's, how can you tell somebody that they can't do what they want with their home? You know, it's hard to,
Children, child.
it's hard.
it's a 15 loose,
I'm sorry,
it's a 15 loose ends that they can jump.
I'm sorry, Jeff. I couldn't, I'm trying to listen twice.
No,
What did you say about putting the childcare workers?
no, I was saying that's one of the incentives that we offer to the interns coming up to NEDS is
Oh,
housing. We
Gotcha.
find a unit, we rent the unit while for the 3 months that they're here.
again, if we could
So your house.
If we could get one for year round, it'd be great. But I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of empty condos at Loon in the summer that you could put your insurance in. Yeah,
One of the concepts that the developer across the street here brought to the planning board last week,
mhm,
and I don't know any of the details, he just mentioned it. Was that some of the units are gonna be being rented by businesses who would then
put employees
put
in them.
employees in there, and again, I don't know what, you know. If some business is signing on the lease, they're gonna pay the rent.
Yeah,
You know, granted, they won't be over there to deal with noise issues or
right,
any
right,
other
right,
issues,
right,
but the rent's coming in, and that's always the
Right.
big one,
right.
you know? That may be the future of some of these
Mhm.
buildings in town, the guaranteed rent. I mean. That was our situation, was the same as yours.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. It was a
We
nightmare.
had someone physically threatened. To,
Yeah,
you know, because they didn't wanna pay the rent. It's like,
Yeah.
you know,
but they tried to burn the house down. When that didn't work, they opened all the windows and turned the heat off and froze it up. That's the, yeah. And because of that, they had to move out. It's like, whatever works.
When is planning?
Wednesday. This Wednesday or a week from?
no, a week from this Wednesday.
Yeah,
Okay.
date is.
the 23rd. 6 o'clock, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
23rd, 6 o'clock. And that's on the agenda. So. Any other public participation? All right, then, we're not gonna go into non-public yet, we're gonna do the bank stuff. And then we're gonna go
We
into
did the
non,
motion, so we have to do some.
all we have to do is sign it, but we should do that in public.
Yeah.
Then we're gonna go into non-public, for a employee issue. Is there anything else?
Nope, just personnel.
first.
Personnel. So. Get out your pens. I'm gonna put these in order, we have two
Okay,
personnel
You
issues.
two go first. I'm gonna go use the.
There should be 3 copies of each document in each kind of paperclip packet, other than the actual bond, so.
All right, you know what, I think I took the paper clip off this first because I was reading it. But I'll put it back on.
Thank you, Wayne.
See you already here, thank you, Wayne, good job, as always, thank you.
That axe throwing thing at National Night Out was pretty cool, huh?
That was-
Yeah.
that was-
You know, I never got to see that because I
I
was
didn't,
selling tickets the whole time.
Yeah,
yeah,
And then I said, you know, I was helping taking down tables, and the next thing I knew, like, it was.
yeah. It was pretty cool. You could, like,
it was, something like that. No, it was great, drew a lot of people. too.
Yeah.
That whole national night out was.
Oh, it was great,
Again,
Really.
just excellent, excellent.
well planned out. Sarah did a great job.
Mhm. Yeah, but I think if we get a couple more of those like inflatable games, I think the kids loved it, even the Connect Four, right, the basketball thing, yeah.
Did.
Yeah, I know my nephews were over there playing games,
Mm-hmm.
doing stuff.
Oh, yeah, City was loving it.
8 and 10.
Well, even like I was saying, pretend it's your wife up there, or your husband, you know, it was a husband and wife competition.
Jack, yeah.
I was
Sparing the things.
No, oh, I was stirring it up. You know, girlfriend, boyfriends were there, okay, pretend he did this here, whacked, you know?
Cindy got a tattoo right in the middle of her forehead that wouldn't come off for days.
It
It's great.
Yeah, one of my nephews got right in his neck. And in like the first 2 days, like, oh, it's really.
It was ridiculous.
Right, literally
Wow.
right here. She did like a Manson girl. It was looked like this blemish on his face, on his neck. Yeah.
Yeah, we were calling her, what's the Manson chick? What?
Oh,
She looked like
right.
Rosie. Manson.
Well, there he is.
That Those are all three the same, put a big clip on all three of them connected.
There's a clip there.
I have it right there.
Oh, you have two of them already?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Okay,
That's an older.
then here's that one, and put all three of those together. in one.
Yes, sir.
All right. These I'm not taking apart, I'm just gonna sign all three of them. Thank.
Big flip.
Oh my God, my pen is out. Yes, don't help me another one. It's just gonna be a mess.
You're still recording because you're still technically in public.
Sure, that's fine.
Yep. I'll wait till we're
I
not
think swear
recording,
this.
calling him names.
This is too thick to keep together.
Should have seen me trying to mark all the signature
yeah.
lines today. I went through them like 3 times to make sure. And then, of course, after I went through them all and I put all the little sticky tabs on everything,
Mhm.
she sent me revisions to 3 of the documents. I got.
Really?
So the pool too long yesterday. My sister's. She was in Pine Hills, so we went, they have, a steamboat club.
Did you come back today?
It was a great week, it was an awesome day. Took my niece and my granddaughter to the pool. Small pool, well, not, that's a big pool, but it's, small, fenced in area, 2 lifeguards. I'm reading my book, yeah, I'm reading my book, and at one point, I think I woke myself up snoring on the city. And went, where are the girls? Oh, okay, we're good. And I think I could have been 2 minutes, could have been 25. It was that kind of day. It was pretty awesome.
Those should only have 1 copy of each.
Okay,
Those are the original.
and one is R1 and one is R2.
Yes.
The schedules are on that. Right,
Yes.
those,
I got to see the kids. I know, so excited.
How are they doing?
Great, they're doing.
they are,
They are, that's good.
Yeah.
is she straight?
She is.
Really?
Yep,
Wonderful.
yep,
They did great.
doing well. I mean, it's,
Well, it makes that 6 months
Yeah.
and it never was worth
Yeah.
it, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's, if you should all go to waste, that might be.
right,
right.
But if it's,
That's not right.
yeah, it's, she's doing well. It's still heartbreaking to, like, I mean, and they all kind of reverted a little bit, but you can see what, it's 900 million. So, yeah,
Oh, that's good to hear.
it is. Yeah, we went to Plymouth Plantation. And went on the Mayflower, did all of good stuff.
yeah, I've never been to either one of those.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think I went in like high school for like a field trip or something.
The Mayflower.
we
Yeah,
went,
One of Nate's relatives come over.
Really?
Nate Hadaway's, yeah. Ask him about it.
we went to the Plymouth Plantation, which is now Plymouth Patuxent History, something or other. And then drove from there the 5 miles to the Mayflower, Plymouth Rock. it's
Plymouth
all
Rock,
the
yeah.
same, yeah. The kids would go right through, trying to pick up the orders and kinds of people throwing, yeah.
Stealing people with
Exactly. Oh, this is the notary. And all of it, and we got there at 10 when they opened, and we did everything with 5 kids. And we're still done by 12:30, 1 o'clock, it doesn't take long to do it, no. Mayflower's good, I've been on that a couple of times. Let's sing a big clip, do you know big clip?
No, a little bit.
Okay, no. But I think Charlie studies, I think that's this year, 4th grade. If I remember correctly, so. Might as well take him, then he could. I like to. And then Charlie and his dad. Played golf at, Finance. So Charlie was very impressed. They have several. Water shots, something, or gully shots or something. Those are his favorite.
He's funny, with his little mullet.
Cause you get the tax form and it just needs one signature.
He is soccer camp all week. He's missing the whole last week of camp. Yeah, I'm gonna try to take him Wednesday afternoon because they. Postponed,
I go late.
I go to
Yeah, they do.
Wednesday,
Right.
so after, I'm gonna bring stuff and then after soccer camp for an hour or so. Afterwards. Cause I have him Wednesday, Thursday, soccer camp duty.
Okay, this is the first page. All of those should go here, and that's the last page.
Okay,
That's just my signature on the tax
oh,
forms.
so I don't need those,
Yep.
yes. So all of those go here, probably in reverse order.
It's okay, I'm gonna have to go through and
Well, I've started already, so.
redo the seal, because Kristen put the seal underneath the signature, and then it's supposed to be affixed to the other side, so.
This is BMS. 535. Anything else fun and exciting in the green folder?
I didn't read the Booster thing.
Yeah. That's not.
Right.
Are we gonna move segue into non-public? Are we done recording?
Is there anything else in that green folder that needs to be done in public?
Okay.
No,
Then yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to go to non-public for personnel, two personnel items.
Second.
All those in favor?